Her DoD Instruction 1304-35 Military Marketing on the Secretary of Defense for the Personal Relative November 1st, 2017, Chamber of the event June 25th, 2020. Hereby publicly available the directive of the Division of the ESDWH of the Middle DoD with the AM Cartel of the Performance due with the Undersecretary of the Defense for the Personal Readiness with the Matthew G. with Donovan, Undersecretary of the Defense for the Personal over the Ready Units of the Interpretive of the Department of Defense Directive 51-2402 with the issue with the established policy assignment of the responsible for the oversight of the implementation DoD recruitment marketing engagement event with a contract and with a task over the implement formal process of facility with a more effective use of the market of advertising with a reach over the adverse address and efficiency with ensure the information sharing with the military with the eliminate duplication of the overlap fragment with the main result of the absence of the coordinated with among the military so this set them criteria with the mention with the other measure of the delivery of which with the military department the military with the value with the recruitment and marketing success with the help of the achieve with the recruiting goals otherwise condemn with the marketing related with the after action reports MLI actual with the contract reports are annual internal audits. Table of contents, annual issue of the information, applicability policy, summary of change 1, responsibility, Assistant Secretary of Defensive Manpower, Reserve of Affairs, Secretary of the Military Departments, marketing activity, requirement, contract guidelines, review of the contract requirement, prohibition, measuring the marketing performance object with the requirement of coordinated efforts over the objective of the requirement, glossary, acronyms, definition of the references. And so we go with the section 1, general issuance information, applicability issue with the office, apply with the office, with the military department, the office, the chairman, the joint chief of the staff, the joint staff, combat commands, office of the Inspector General of the Department of Defense Agency with the DoD fields actively other organizational entity with the DoD refers to the collective affiliation with the DoD components policy with the inclusion with the section 30, 13 Army, 50, 13 Navy, 80, 13 with the Air Force, Title 10 United States with the Secretary of the Military Departments for responsible for the recruiting persons with the military with the active with the reserve components with the inclusion with the section 503 Title 10 United States of the Military Department with the conduct with the intent of the recruiting campaign with the obtainment of the enlistment with the regular Army with the regular Navy, the regular Air Force, with the regular Marine Corps, with the regular Coast Guard, with the DoD public, and have the effectiveness recruitment program, with the aggressive of the program, the diversity of the market reach of the target, with the perspective of the recruit, with the individual influencing perspective of the recruit, with the issue, with the does not play with the marketing, advertising, with the commercial, with the sponsorship program, with the military morale, welfare, and recreation, the Defense Commission, with the agent of the military exchange, with the government, with the DoD instruction 10-15-10, with the 13-30, with the 17, 13-30-21, respect with the military, with the Department of Military Service, do not pay sports related to organization sport events with the professional sport team with provided recognition ceremonies of the service summary of change. Chief of the issue with the update with the organizational alignment of the office, Chief of the Army, the enterprise marketing with the field over operating agency with the Assistant Secretary of the Army Manpower with the Reserve Affairs with the corner with the Department of the Army, the General Order with the number 2019 and 18 with a request over the Army designated with the senior of the representative 06 over the Army Enterprise of the Marketing Office will be routinely attended with a quarterly meeting to discuss ongoing marketing efforts. So, 2. Section responsible the Assistant Secretary of Defense Manpower with the Reserve of the Affairs under the authority, direction, and control within the Secretary of Defense for the personal readiness and with the development of the policy, the oversee with the implementation requirement, the establishment of the issue with the coordinator with the review with the update with the issue with the Secretary of the Military with the Department of Training with the marketing program accountability, provides formal process with the coordinator between the military with the Department of Defense review, update existing advertising with the marketing program, share with the best practice for the future advertising with the marketing development and review with the duplication over the fragment effort of the marketing research. Secretary of the Military Departments with the military supervisor ensure with the respect of the departments comply with the issue with the recommended change with the issue with the Assistant Secretary of Manpower Reserve Affairs as necessary, collecting and internally maintain with the required with the data provided with the Department of Representation required meeting with each military department will nominate one marketing representative expect with the Navy which will provide representative on each of the Navy and the Marine Corps established procedure to control the inventory, all of the contract, with no cause value added items of the opportunity, include all of the items of the personal in nature, periodic audit, marketing related contract with provide Assistant Secretary of Defense, Manpower, Recreation, reserve the information responsible and periodic data requests. Section 3, marketing activity requirement of the contracting guidelines. Review at appropriate difficulty outline and check with the review of the recruitment and marketing with the contract before exemption with the ensure with the deliverable with the appropriate reasonable with the compliant with the table with the DoD with the government contract with the power with the recruiting marketing official with the review designated official with each of the military with the review with each contract value less than with the 10,000 with the review with the term will then verify with the contracting action comply with the requirement of the issue with the term of the contract over the appropriate reasonable reasonable Senior recruitment and marketing official with a review, senior review official with each of the military with the service with the defined paragraph 31A2 with the A1, 31A2B with the review each contract with a valid more than $10,000 with a review of the verify with the contracting action comply with the accommodation with the fair term with the property reasonable. For the Navy with the Marine Corps, Air Force with the senior reviewing official will be served with the recruiting commander with the recruiting command with the national marketing director with the Federal Army, assuming the reviewing official with the Army component with the regular Army, the Reserve with the Army, National Guard will be chief of the Army enterprising market off with the contracting official with a review of the contracting official with the oversight of the contract responsible for the recruiting marketing contract will review each contract with a verify the term conditions comply with the DoD with the government contracting laws and comply with the contract requirement and prohibition. Military Department will ensure that all of the recruiting marketing engagement event with the contract actions do not recover the military department with the pay with the power of the agreement with the activities with the ownership of the members with the size of the activities include but not limited to pay with the ceremony flying with the national with the colored guard demonstrate with enlistment re-enlistment square and ceremonies of the other service members of the recognition programs of the military department only with the continuity execute with such activities pursuant to the contract women the term of the contract expressly state with the activities prohibited provided with no additional cost of the government list of the separately goods and separately tangible the other value that may appear with the personal nature define management control with the provide with the control of the audit items of the identified with the paragraph 31B2 with the if the control of the not listed in part with the contract with they must be with the document separately with attached with the contract for easy reference the control must be established before assignment of the contract or the control of the measures ensure the service member of the other government employee with the receipt of the items comply with the applicable rules ethics for the senior with the contact define metric and servable metrics which success the event with a deliverable to measure with any of the contract action exceeding with a $5,000 with the profit of the documentation record with a metric with the description of the military departments with the metric with the not listed part of the contract with the must be documented separately as the contract easy reference metrics must be established before signing with the contract must document with the writing must include the rationale for their use if it will be with the value with the return on investment with the contract again with the intended purpose of measuring marketing performance of the deck with the military department with the measure with the performance of the marketing effort the effect with the measure with the base with the identified with the measure with the deck with the regard with the military department with the broad with the national local marketing plan the individual marketing campaign the determine the effect of the marketing effort over the vital over the both of the action with the necessary with the performance of the data with the availability of the analyze of the data marketing campaigns of the engagement are designed to execute with a varying objective therefore any of the number of the measures can be used with the gauge of the effectiveness return on the investment of each of the performance metrics should not be based solely on the leads see glossary with the other performance data that may be the more appropriate when with the measuring success of the requirements of the military department comes with the paragraph 31B4 with the issue with the define with the metrics and some of the metric with which with the excessive event with the engagement can be measured with the total cost of the government is more than $5,000 with the metric must be documented right must include the rational for you with the most ensure that the require with the data with the reader available with the metric will be given the value with the return on investment again for the event with the intended purpose of the process of the documentation recording for the metric result of the discussion with the military department's concerned with the performance report will provide periodically the assistant secretary of the manpower reserve affairs establish a metric with the several metrics by the success of the service of the components overall marketing plan with the measure of the include with the measurable goal with the metric with the must document with the must include with the rational for its use with the must ensure with the data grow with the readily available the metric with the will be used with the evaluate the success of the plan with the achieve with the object with the process with the documentation record with the metric with the result of the discretionary with the military department's concern provide with the deputy assistant secretary of defense with the military personnel policy with the semi-annual with the basis June 30th to July 31st over the listing with the recruitment the marketing with the engagement with the event with the contract action with the sign with the during with the provisions 6 month list should include with the name of the contract with the day with the sign with the reviewing official with the value with the contract with the day with the end of the contract with the contract overall with the objective and the after action statement is summarizing each of the recruitment the marketing engagement event with the contract actions completed ensure with the contract listing items that may appear with the personal nature that include with the value with the tangible otherwise separately with the part with the recruitment marketing engagement with the event with the contract with the task over the military department over the serve with the component with the research receive such good evidence ensure that the annual with the military department will conduct with the internal audit with those that have notified with the military department assistant secretary of the manpower research affairs will notify the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Defense of the Military Personal Policy no later than January 15th each year. No later than 60 days after the age of the end of the contract of the task or over the performed period of performance produced after the action of the reporting summary of the recruiting, marketing, and engagement, even the contract of the task or over the book off of the government exceeds 10,000 retained with a report for at least 2 years. Summary must include a brief description of the event with the intended purpose of the action, some of the problems that arose during the event, listing contractable deliverable goods and several that may appear with the personal with the need for the control of responsible to measure the ensure the proper distribution and accountability of such goods and services with the metric of the measure of success of coordinated event efforts for the objective of the information sharing with regard with the marketing campaign for the efforts of program with the between the military with the provide with the efficiency for the also sharing with the best practice for the military for the component just will recover the overlap of the response for the outreach for the effort to coordinate with the appropriate public affair for the agency for the important the following action with the require with the facility with the communication between the DOD with the military for the other agents identified with the paragraph 33B requirement of the representative of the associated session of the policy direct with the office of the deputy assistant secretary of defense of the military personal policy of the military service will meet quarterly to discover the ongoing of the marketing effort. The DOD will arrange the meeting with the which may be in perfect video conference the conference call with each military service must provide the representative of each meeting with the Navy, the Marine Corps, with the Air Force, with the representative of the recruiting, commanding national and marketing director with his or her deputy with the Army, representative with the designated with the senior representative of the officer with the representative of the 06 with the Army Enterprise with the marketing officer will routinely attend with the meetings. Additionally, join advertise with the marketing research study group with the provide with the representative of the National Guard Bureau with the main designated with the representative of the Army National Guard with the Army National Guard to attend with the meetings. Everything recruiting, marketing, representative of the coordinator as appropriate, while the local public affairs of the officer with the conduct of the recruitment and marketing engagement event over the other community event with the military department responsible to establish the policy guidelines, proceed with the facilitate communication between the recruiting personnel and the local public affairs officers. Glossary: Assistant Secretary of Defense Manpower with the affairs and advertising lead. The lead means eligible for prospect with the indicate with some of the interest of joining military service. And we have reference to the Department of Defense redesignation, reassignment, the relocation of the U.S. U.S. Army Marketing Research Group with the Chief of the Army Enterprise Marketing Field Operating Agent with the Deputy Chief of the Staff 1, DOD Directive 512407 with the Secretary of Defense Personal Readiness of the DOD instruct for the military warfare recreation, military morale, welfare and recreation program. The DOD Instruction, DOD Commissioner Programs, DOD Instruction 1330. 21 Armed Service Exchange Regulations and the United States Code Title 10. DOD Instruction 1304 35 Military Marketing.